219-962-7675 or visit ironworkers395.com.
Here's the mono version of Ferry Cross the Mersey by Jerry and the Pacemakers.
Have you ever considered becoming an iron worker? Local 395 is now accepting applications for their apprenticeship program. Go to ironworkers395.com. Look under the training section, click on apprenticeship, and scroll down to the application. You must be 18 years old, have a high school diploma or GED, and you must be physically able to perform the work of the trade. Find out more by calling the apprenticeship school in Lake Station at 219-962-7675 or visit ironworkers395.com.
Hearts torn in every way.
Hey everybody, my name's Jim Delo. He's Matt Hansen. This is the Mastering Local Marketing Podcast. We're taping it, recording it in January of 2026. Of course, the principles last for years. And of course, we are also live on the radio and live on YouTube. If you want to watch us live, you go to WJOB 1230 and just click on it, and we should be right there right now. And you know what? We don't have it up, do we? Do we have it so they could call or no? Probably not. We do not. So, and you know what? It is up. 219-845-1100. This is episode 107. Many small businesses struggle with their social media, especially on Facebook, feeling like their efforts aren't really getting enough and yielding enough. In this episode, we dive into why typical approaches fall short and reveal what truly drives Facebook follower growth without spending money on ads. This is essential listening for anyone interested in marketing for small businesses and online marketing for small business success. We explore foundational mistakes made with Facebook pages and emphasize the importance of content quality, consistency, and social media engagement. Learn how to create posts that inspire conversations, strategically use Facebook features like stories and live video, and leverage partnerships and community interaction for greater organic reach. Additionally, you'll discover how proper timing, compelling visuals, and simple data tracking can significantly boost your results. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear social media marketing strategy framework for turning Facebook into a long-term audience building channel rather than feeling like a frustrating time sink, which is what it feels like sometimes. Matt Hansen, Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Just so a little house cleaning. We are in a temporary location here as we have moved off of the Purdue Northwest campus into where our 102-year-old radio station is, back to our roots. And also, we're going to have a bunch of podcast studios here. So right now, it looks a little bit like, ooh, it's not as spiffy clean as it was. Well, don't worry about it. We'll get there. Hey, man, why Facebook today?
Well, I think 80%, probably 90% of the conversations that I have with businesses starts with the word Facebook, right? So how do we do better on Facebook? How do we drive our how do we get more people to follow us? How do we get more engagement? How do we do this? How do we do that, right? And we hear it so much that I just walk into a meeting anymore and I go, all right, let's start with Facebook, because that's where it always goes, right? So I think sitting down and kind of breaking down some of these things, there's a lot of companies out there that have used Facebook. They're kind of figuring it out as they go, and I want to touch on some of those things today. They may be doing it, they may not be doing it, but they will know as soon as we talk about them, like, yep, I remember being there, or they're there right now and they just need to get that over that little hump. So that's what we're talking about today.
So what is, you go to somebody's Facebook page, you look at their profile, you have their reels, they have all the different things, but really the very first thing, if you happen to get to somebody's page to like it or whatever, what is it you want the small and medium business person to know about their page?
Sure. So let's go all the way back to kind of the infancy of somebody jumping on Facebook and trying to promote their business. A lot of small companies, I don't see it as much today, but a lot of small companies would just do it as a profile, right? So as an individual profile and try and grow traffic that way. And you'll still see this today. You know how it does those recommendations of people that you should follow? Every once in a while, a company will pop up, and it's literally an individual profile that they've created as a business. Don't do that. I mean, you're going to get, you don't get all the tools and all the weapons that you need when you have a page. So go out there and make sure that you have a page. Now, I would say most people at this point have figured that out, and they have their page, and they go out there and they do these different things. But the other thing to start thinking about is, we talked a couple weeks ago about when somebody approaches your building and they start to look at from the parking lot to the front door to walking in and kind of looking at your company from an overall whole. What does the building look like? What is the parking lot? Is there trash everywhere? It's kind of the same thing with a Facebook page. Is your logo on there? Is there a cover image? Is there the branding? Is there a look and feel to it? Or does it just feel like you've just thrown everything on there? Is the logo a low resolution, really pixelated, blurry image, or is it cropped in some capacity? Your logo should sit center of that profile picture. So I see it a lot where people will upload something and it gets cut off, it gets cropped somehow, some way, and it just doesn't look right. It's if I'm not willing to put in the effort just into the branding of my page, what do you think the content is going to be, right? So start with the branding, your Facebook profile picture, your cover. Make sure your information is in there. I see a lot of people, they don't put their websites in there. There's no phone number in there. Just a lot of little simple things that you can do to just kind of give that professionalism. You may be a one-person team that's out there trying to run a business and run their Facebook page, but just spend a few minutes. It's going to take you no more than 30 minutes to kind of put all of this together. Take the time to do it.
So do you put moving images, stagnant? What kind of images, or no images if you want a clean look? I mean, what do you tell your clients?
Well, from a branding perspective, just keep it simple, right? We're not trying to overlook or trying to overdo anything here. When we talk about content, if we're pulling that in and what you're posting, yeah, you want to have some kind of interactive, some motion and things like that, but it doesn't always have to be a video. It doesn't always have to be a motion graphic. There's a variety of different things that you can do on there. Basic text, a basic headline, a basic saying for the day is fine, right? So I was driving in today to the podcast, and I'm listening to something online, and I'm always taking notes in my phone, and I'm sitting at a red light waiting for the light to change, and I heard something and I put it in my phone, right? And it's something that's intriguing to me. It's something that's intriguing to the people that that listen to us and all these different things, and it'll probably be pulled into a podcast in the future, right? That's what I mean by you're hearing all kinds of different things every single day, and it doesn't have to be a video, it doesn't have to be an image, it doesn't have to be just a statement, but realize that the variety that you post up there should have some value to it. So you're not just posting happy, National Cat Day or happy National Dog Day. No one cares about that, right? Like, that's irrelevant unless you are a dog or cat themed company. But honestly, is that going to drive any engagement? Probably not.
Can you bring up our page up there, Adriana, and bring it up there? I mean, I've looked at some of these different posts that we've put up, and certainly the ones that are usually like an end of the game highlight, they get a lot of posts. Mm-hmm. I mean, they get a lot of views, they get a lot of interactions, and then, oh, hey, we got tonight, we're having Boone Grove versus Bishop Knoll, and you get like 7 likes. Right. I mean, that is do you promote your product in line with some of the, with the things that are going to get looks and interactions and frequencies, but do you go, hey, don't forget you can have HVAC for I think right now Munster Dentistry, they're doing $39.99 on their braces, and they have other stuff in there, and then they put an ad down there. Nobody likes it, nothing, but it's in there. How do you balance that?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to hit a home run with every single post that you put out there, but you do have to have that engagement to keep your audience around. So when you look at it, right, if you've posted the last 20 things out there and nobody is engaged with it whatsoever, your page is all but dead. Don't even waste your time on it. I mean, you're just posting things that nobody is seeing anymore. What you're saying is you're getting a ton of engagement in the highlights part of it. So people are looking for the highlights, but as a sports fan, they may be interested in knowing when the games are going to happen, right? Because you've talked to a variety of different people that say, I just don't know when the games are. So it's in the feed, and it's there for people to see, but you're not losing your audience because they're engaged, right? So we could post every hour if we really wanted to. If you want to be like an Alex Hormozy where he's posting literally every 5 minutes, you could do that. Now, the odds of you producing enough content that's valuable is not going to happen. Yeah. He's got a full, huge team that's kind of like Mr. Beast and his 200, 300 people that are working for him. You don't have that. So and most of our listeners don't have that either. They're a 1-person team, maybe a 2-person team. They need to focus on content that's going to get engagement, content that's going to show up. They don't need to worry about going viral. And I hear this all the time. We want to go viral. And I always ask everyone, why? Well, we'll get all these people looking at us. And, and we talked to Summer a while back in regard to her company, and she had one video that went viral. And that's great. But does it matter if you're only selling in one centralized location? That, if we're in Northwest Indiana and somebody in San Diego starts to see your videos and they can't buy any of your products, what's the point? So the virality, it doesn't make sense for a local business. What we need to understand is we've got to get the people around us and our little radius around our business to actually start to see things. So it's got to be relevant. It's got to be consistent. You got to have that kind of engagement with individuals. So we're not looking for the virality of a single post to get 3 million people. We're looking for consistency over time. And when you look at your engagement, you're seeing you have consistent engagement across most things. It may not be a post that, this school versus this school is playing, but the next one may be the results from that game. And people, you've got 7,000 people that have gone through and viewed that video. Okay, that's pretty darn good, right?
Yeah, so for instance, I just pulled up our Facebook page here, and we posted, within the last 24 hours, we posted a highlight from the Bishop Knoll Andrian girls game, and that was kind of the winning shot that made sure they didn't go into overtime. Alongside with that, we also posted the schedule of the game, so how you were saying. And I'm looking at the analytics just based on what you're seeing without having the full analytics through. So on our Facebook page, for instance, that highlight of the girls' game got, let's see here, 2 comments, 5 shares, and 13,000 views. And I believe 34 interactions, whether that's like or all the different things you can do on Facebook. Now, if you go to Instagram, it had 201 likes, 1 comment, and 24 shares. For the schedule of the games, you have 36 likes, 2 comments, 14 shares. On Instagram, you have 268 likes and 82 shares. So my question for that, how you're saying, why do people want to go viral and all that, difference in analytics, which one do you pay attention to?
I would pay attention to making sure that you have some form of engagement. Right, so you just mentioned a bunch of metrics. All of those, I guarantee you, people that are listening are going, I would kill for those numbers. Okay, so what we're saying here is you're doing a good job. If you were to go to another page and you were to start to look at that and you'd see one like, 2 likes, right? 1 comment every 5 posts. That's not content that people are coming back for. You're not producing good enough content for people to stick around. And what it does is it disappears from the algorithm. It's not going to show up, right? So there's certain things that you see when you're going through your social feeds, and they're consistent, right? It's things that you've done in the past, whatever, couple days, or you view a new page, or maybe you're searching for, as Jim with his boots, he's searching for boots, and all of a sudden you're seeing boot ads all over the place.
First your purple hat, now your boots.
Exactly. So, but that's what I mean. Like, you start to see those types of things, and the marketers that I know that are essentially entrepreneurs that understand marketing pay attention to these metrics, because if they're not getting those likes, those comments, those views, they're disappearing. It's not worth their time.
So let's look at that's a very surprising element here. So tell me how many on the schedule again on Instagram?
On Instagram?
Yeah, so
it was 268.
All right, because I was going to go to my guys and go, hey, man, you put these things up here to schedule. You get like 8 or 10 likes on Facebook, but you're getting 243 likes.
Yeah. Alongside with that, I think with Instagram, especially for the demographic too, you're gonna have a lot of younger people on Instagram. All those high schoolers that are seeing these, it's easier to share because the option to share. So like if you go to share, you just hit 2 buttons, 3 buttons actually, and then you already shared it automatically. That's 3 buttons. On Facebook, I think you gotta go through it like a little bit more. And my generation, I will say, we are lazy. We want something very quick, something very efficient, and with that, you could say, "Well, look, guys, I got on TV. Here's my highlight," and that shares around, and that goes everywhere.
Right.
So, I can't even believe that it's it's 1,000 times more to have the likes on. Now what about Instagram? There have to be other businesses that have this dichotomy, like, why am I getting it here and not here? I'll tell you right now that we have 42,000 followers, but I would say 35,000 of them are from when we were doing live games. And then we switched over and built our own network. So they're really we're not getting that many more followers. Is there a way to calculate how many are on Instagram? How
many followers we have on Instagram?
Do you have follower numbers on that? So this kind of goes against what you were talking about in the last episode. Pick one.
Well, again, you're really good on... How many followers do you guys have on Instagram?
On Instagram, well, that's the other thing. Our Instagram is much more new,
of course,
opposed to our Facebook. Our Instagram has 5,019 followers and about 1,800 posts on there. Okay. And with our Facebook, we have 41,000 followers.
So that was a legacy thing from when WJOB had it and all that, and so we handed it to the sports network, and so was 35,000 handed to it. So maybe they've added 6,000 in the last couple of years or whatever. So what do you make of that situation?
Again, you got to look at the audience, right? So if you're talking about sports network, the kids are more inclined to share by Instagram. They're not going to be on Facebook. My kids are 17 and 19, and yeah, I think they have a Facebook account. I'm not connected to it, and if they do, there's no picture. They do it for some reason.
I don't know why our generation does that. They don't put pictures.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, why do you have it then?
But that's the thing, right? They're on Instagram, they're on TikTok, they're on younger type platforms, as they say it, right? So you can generate the traffic through Instagram to your younger audience, but moms, dads, grandparents are going to be on Facebook and they want to see, so that I saw the shot. It was 30 to 31.
Did you see me in the background going like, yes?
I did not, but I saw the shot this morning, so I'm one of those views, and it's funny because, I would have never seen this, and it's good content, right? So when I look at my feed and I start to follow different things, it's, most of my stuff is sports related or business related, or, even I like old cars, so I see old car for sale or restoration stuff. That's my entire feed, and really, honestly, you have different audiences. So you have to go, who are we going after? Right? So if you're on Facebook, it's a little bit older crowd, let's be honest. If you're on Instagram is pivoting. It's actually moving to an older audience at this point, where it used to be a younger audience. And you start to just look at them and you go, all right, well, if I said you only had to pick one, you've got 41,000 on one, and I forget what the number was for Instagram, but start looking at the analytics and go, which one's growing faster? Which one is getting more content?
Well, I think
which one is
the Instagram's kind of brand new. To have 5,000 is pretty good.
It's pretty good, right?
So let's cover the other. We basically covered the data part of it. Adriana, of course, is a senior and is taking Matt's class now and all that. So she's learning, honestly, to just look at the data. And you've taught me to do that. We covered that. But what about working with other sports networks, with working with other people in your sphere?
Right.
How do you collaborate with them to help both your businesses?
Yeah, I think the biggest secret growth hack for small businesses is partnerships and collaborating with other people, because they have audiences that you want and vice versa. I've seen some of the largest jumps in just about any areas of marketing when you start to work with other companies. So, if you are shooting a video for your store, you send that over to the store down the street that's a friend of yours, and they can do the exact same thing. Or maybe you go down to their store and say, hey, I'm here, at XYZ company, one of my favorite people in the entire world. You should come down and see what they have. You post that on your social channel. They do the exact same thing for you. So now you're actually reaching thousands of people that you might not have reached, before. And it really doesn't cost you anything, because all you're doing is just going down and making a video. You guys are sharing content. I'm telling you right now, every single time I do a partnership with a company, between two companies, and they share the audiences, you see significant growth over and over. And most people won't do this. They're like, oh, well, I don't want to go, I don't want them to steal my customers. I'm sorry, but nobody spends all of their money in one location. We're all sharing the money. We don't have an infinite amount of money, but there's this pile of money that we go out and spend every single year, and it's going to be spread around. So if the store two retail locations down from you draws in customers, and they can walk two doors down to come into you, why wouldn't you do that, right? I don't see why people put up a stink over it, but literally find 2 or 3 companies that you can partner with, put content on theirs, they put content on yours, and you're in control of it. You can approve what's going to be put up, but share the content, share, and you see a lot of this with, typical chambers of commerce where they go out and they do openings and things like that, and they share that kind of stuff. It's the same idea here. But you are going in and almost as a customer to say, I really love this company and this is why I love them. You're going to love the owner. You're going to love, these products that they have or these services that they do. And it's the authenticity of the owner going to somewhere else to say how well this company does, you just trust me on this. Go out there and partner with a couple companies, and you're going to see drastic results.
You're listening to that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, all right, so let's go back to the beginning and kind of bring the takeaways. Some of these folks don't even have a Facebook or an Instagram, or if they do, it's almost non-existent. Give us step one for them.
Step one is just literally go out and create a page, right? So go claim your page. Hopefully you've got one by now, but go out, claim the page, and populate it with your branding. So good logo, good cover, put some kind of information on there about you, what you're all about, what your website is, put your phone number on there. Basic stuff.
Takeaways for the person who has the Facebook and the Instagram and the TikTok and all that stuff. What do you want them to learn as we go into a new year?
Yeah, I'd say go back and look at your last 10 to 20 posts and see how many people are engaging with your content. If it's relatively zero, we've got an issue. We've got to get more engaging content. And when I say engaging content, it's not put better pictures up there. It's put a poll out there. What would you like to see in our store? What would you like to see in our services that we offer? If we were to offer this, put a poll out there, and if we were to offer this as part of a package, would you be more inclined to work with us? Put things, for the sports network right now. I mean, we've got the NFL playoffs starting in 2 days. Who's going to win? Packers or Bears? Who's going to win? Who's going to win the Super Bowl this year? Like, vote for your favorite team. I mean, we're local. We're right outside Chicago, so you're going to see a ton of Chicago Bears or even Packers, right? But, you're going to see relatively small numbers for, the West Coast teams and East Coast teams. But get the engagement going, because that will, if they engage and they vote in something as simple as that, now your posts are gonna start populating. So like with you guys, as I'm going through my feed, I will see stuff that you posted today. I'll see things you posted a week ago, and I'll see things you posted 3 weeks ago, right? Things that I normally wouldn't see because I watched that video earlier of that last second shot. I'm going to start to see it more often. So just that one simple engagement post is going to light a little bit of a fire into your Facebook page, and people will start to see your content more.
So as a takeaway, there's a couple things going on. We're here at our brand new studios. So we are in the similar situation that some of you may be, where you're kind of starting your social media, or you're going to look at it again, in that we've basically handed our social media off to our sports network. And now Adriana and I are going to start. What do we do for WJOB? Certainly she built a YouTube page, which I did not want. I just wanted to do radio. And now all of a sudden, I don't know, there's well over 300 people that like it. And if the show's not live on Facebook in the morning, people get miffed. Yeah. Okay? So there's a start for us. We've gone and we've invested in YouTube. Now we got to decide what else we want to invest. That's what I'm guessing a lot of people that would listen to this be like, all right, I listen to this podcast, or they happen to get this episode. They need a place to start, or they need a place to reignite their interest in it. But it's really all just data driven, right?
Yeah, that's all it is. So, with you guys with the radio, what gets people riled up? What gets people excited? What are the things they want to talk about, right? So you guys talk a lot about politics on the radio and local politics and different things. So, I mean, could that be your, can you take what is getting people to call in on the radio and put those into your Facebook page and start to get, what are your thoughts on this, right? We mentioned this on the radio this morning. Let's get your thoughts on that. And political side of things, you're going to get all different sides. I had a client a while back, and I'm going to say it was like 3-4 years ago, that went very political with an ad. And I said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And they said, "Yep, let's run it." And oh man, I mean, we had to shut down the ad after a while because it just went crazy. And he goes, good, that's what I wanted. And I said, all right, let's launch it back up again, because I thought it was actually going to be a bad thing. And he goes, that's what I was looking for. And I went, okay, got it, right? So, politics, religion, all those types of things are kind of like people get fired up over. I'm not saying a small business should do that. What I am saying is, if people get excited to talk to you about certain topics, right? For years, people are always asking me, it doesn't matter where I go, can you take a look at my marketing, this, and this? Yeah, I'll take a look, right? That's what I get all the time. So it's, that's what stemmed this podcast. But, if you are a florist right now, I mean, there's all of these winter dances going on right now. Can you provide some insights? Like, I'm a dad. I have no idea what goes into, flowers and all that kind of stuff for all of that, and nor do I care. But, this is a conversation we've been having, literally sitting around the dinner table about flowers, and they're asking questions. Well, what would we do? How do we do this? Like, what is everybody carrying now? Are they carrying? Are they not carrying? Those are the questions that you can be answering if you're a florist. Like, here are the trends of what's going on right now. Here are the colors that are hot right now. Here's what people are doing that they weren't doing last year, right? Like, there's all of this different content that you can put out there that you don't think is necessarily exciting, but people are asking the questions. And one of the quickest ways to understand what people are asking is go to Google and just type in a question like, what is small business marketing? And all of a sudden you get all these questions that populate, and you click on one and then 3 more populate, 3 more. Every time you click, and you'll see what people are asking. So if you're a florist, you're an HVAC or whatever, right? Go in there and type in that, and you'll start to see the content that people are searching for, and that's the content that you put out there on your social channel.
He's Matt Hansen. She's Adriana Alvarez. She's the producer. We just moved into our old building with several studios. So if you want a podcast, get a hold of Adriana, 2 N's, at WJOB1230.com. Until next time, see you later. Hey everybody, AM 1230. Hey everybody, this is the Mastering Local Marketing podcast.
You want to restart?
I would like to restart.
Yes,
Is that okay?
yes,
there you
This
go.
is the bloopers from the.
Live on the air, live and in stereo.
All right, let's explain that. All right, let's give it a short. I'll restart.
Okay.
Hey everybody, this is the Mastering Local Marketing podcast. You can get it on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. You can also go to WJOB 1230 or anywhere on YouTube and just type in Mastering Local Marketing and you'll be able to get on it. We actually record it live on the radio, on my radio stations, AM 1230 and 1047, and we also do it live on YouTube, and you can certainly go get it there. But it's all about talking to you in the small to medium business with the digital marketing guru. He's a PNW professor, a Purdue Northwest professor, and well known in the field, and really kind of got going in digital marketing before it was really a thing in the late 90s. So you got a lot of mistakes under his belt that he can relate to you. This is episode 108. We're going to talk about really what you in the end are after, and that is growth for your small business. Doesn't happen by accident. Too many small businesses chase tactics without building a solid marketing plan. Here in this episode 108, we break down what sustainable business growth looks like and how local business owners can move beyond short-term wins with effective marketing for small business. We discuss core components of a strong marketing strategy, including hiring and systems and building a predictable sales funnel, which we'll have to define again, improving customer experience, and expanding reach without overextending your business. You'll learn why strategic planning matters more than motivation, how to reduce risks as you grow, and how to set meaningful goals that lead to lasting progress. This episode is designed to help small business owners stop reacting and start planning with smart marketing. By the end, you'll have a clear understanding of where growth really comes from and how to build a strategy that supports long-term success. Matt Hansen,
I am here. Let's do this.
how do you become a customer of your own company?
Basically, just go through the whole process, right? So it's interesting because how many people have never done this, right? So, have you called into your business? Have you had somebody on a friend of yours call into the business and ask questions? Like, with you guys, somebody calls in, hey, I own this company, want to talk about advertising. Can you tell me a little bit about it? Right? And you're sitting there listening to the conversation of who they called into. The last podcast we talked about a florist. Have somebody make a phone call to do an order. Hear how that phone call goes, or have somebody go in and be the customer. Like, I walk in the door. How does the building look? Am I greeted as soon as I walk in there? Are there people fighting in the back room? Are there people fighting in the front part of the room? Are they complaining? What is it? Does it look like a mess in there? As I go to order something, do you have a website? Have you gone through and tried to order from your website? Have you put an order all the way through and seen it from point A to point B? So if it says that it's going to ship out today and it doesn't ship for 3 days, that's a problem, right? So I ordered something the other day, said it was going to be there in the next day, if not 2 days. I still have not received it. And, I got a notification today. It'll be there by today. Again, those are all touch points that create either a positive or a negative experience for your customer, and you need to understand those.
So you act as a customer of your own company. So that would mean going and looking at your own Facebook page, your own website, making the call, perhaps hitting the, send me, what happens if I go on a website and I ask for information, I'm a lead, and you get an email on that. So going through the whole thing. So you mentioned the sales funnel. What is that?
Yeah, so we've mentioned the sales funnel plenty of times, but we'll revisit it. So we're trying to generate awareness for our company, which most small companies will have anywhere between 10 and 30% of their customers will know who they are. So just general awareness, and then we try to move you into the consideration set. So, I know who you are. I'm looking for, this type of product or service. You're in that. In marketing, we call it an evoked set. It's a kind of a marketing term that we use, but think of it in terms of, I want something to drink, right? What am I thinking about? Well, there's coffee, there's tea, there's water, there's soda or pop, wherever you're from, in the U.S. There's all these different things that you can drink, and then from there you go. Let's take coffee, for example. You've got Starbucks, you've got Dunkin', you've got McDonald's, you've got things in the grocery store, our friends over at Super Coffee, right? Like there's all these different things. So, there are a variety of things. So we go from awareness to consideration, and then we go to that, as you call it, close, I call it customer, but trying to get people to buy from us. So we have to understand each and every phase of that. And I've done that pretty elaborate evaluation with different companies in the past, where they'll come to me and they'll say, we have an awareness problem. And I'll go back to them and we'll do a survey and realize, like, people know who you are. They just don't consider you an option. And here's why. And they're like, oh, we thought it was awareness, right? So you have to understand, talking to the customers, trying to understand that. And what you do is, if you go through that and you look at it from awareness to consideration all the way to the customer side of things, at awareness, we realize, like, okay, yeah, people don't know who we are. At consideration, we're not offering something that others are. They just won't consider us. Maybe they buy from us, but they don't return. That's an issue as well. Like, is it bad reviews? Did they not get what they thought they were getting? Was it a one-time purchase, or is this something that we can actually get people to buy over and over and over again? It's kind of like going to a restaurant and eating. I want to try this restaurant, and then you're like, it was okay. But you never see them again. From a person that owns a restaurant, I would want to know, what was it? What was wrong, right? And those are questions that you need to ask at the end of the meal and say, hey, just kind of curious, what did you think about the meal? What did you think about our server? What do you think about the ambiance that we have here? Is there anything that we can change? Constructive criticism. We want to make it better for you. Most people won't do that. They don't want to hear it, right? And it's funny, like I obviously I'm a professor at Purdue Northwest, and I teach marketing, and we give our students evaluations every single year. I don't control it. Like, I don't know what they're going to say, but I tell every single one of them, please go in there. I want to get 100% of you to do an evaluation, whether it's good or it's bad. I don't really care about the voting, like the ranking of, was this class what you thought it was and all of that. Give me the comments. I won't know who you are, but I want to know exactly what I did right and what I've done wrong. And I've modified my classes based on those evaluations for years, right? I've almost got it perfect. We're still working on a few things because, obviously years change and students change. But from a small business perspective, if you're asking those questions and you're open to hearing it, you can fix the things that are drawing people away. Maybe they're not considering it because of something, or maybe they're not coming back. It's hard to get a customer, and you want to hold on to them when you actually do.
So all of these jobs, all of this work is done by people. Mm-hmm. How do you, A, attract the right people, and B, evaluate if they are in the right position and if they're the person you thought they were going to be?
Yeah, this is timely because this week one of our employees put in his 2 weeks, and it was after I left to do the last podcast. He calls me up and he's like, "Hey, are you around?" And I said, "Yeah."
Oh yeah, all right.
So we're walking down to my office, and before I even open the door, I go, "Where are you going?" And he just kind of looks at me. He goes, "Well," and I go, "Come on in. I knew you were leaving." And it's one of those things that's fine, because when we hired him, I said he will not be here in 2 years. He will either go up through the ranks or he'll leave for a better opportunity. And I think what you have to understand is there's a lot of people out there listening going, oh, that sounds horrible. It's not, because I knew I hired the right person for that job. And I knew that if we didn't give him the ability to go up the ranks in the next 2 years, I thought maybe he'd stick around for 2 years. We'd have to get him somewhere else. I knew that he was so talented that he was going to move up. He was going to do bigger things. So we gave him all kinds of different things to do and complete flexibility. And it's funny because, I've worked with him for a year. Now, mind you, he's going to a professional hockey team to work. So great opportunity. I wish him the best. But, realize that you hire people that you know are great. And what I tell every employee that I have is literally, you're here today. I don't want you here in 2 years. I don't want you in the same thing that you're doing right now because you're not growing. So when I talk to the people that I work with, my first question is, what do you need from me to do your job? What do you need from me to get where you want to go? I don't tell them to do anything. I don't give them any this is what I want you to do. I literally give them the flexibility to be who they are, and I watch and I learn and I see how they are. Now, there are people that I've worked with that don't take that initiative. They're not doing anything. They're stagnant, right? And that's when okay, I've given you 100% flexibility and all the resources that are at my disposal for you to do great things, and you're still not doing it. That's when you don't have the right people. Silence.
No, I thought you were going to continue on.
Nope.
I know that. I mean, it's always a difficult one for the small to medium sized business, because you're right. I think that in our situations, I mean, you're working in academia and working in marketing, and you take talent and then use them, and then they go on. Mm-hmm. Same thing here.
Yeah,
Adriana here's already interning in the city. I mean, you look up at the Big Ten Network and Barstool and CBS, and they've all, a lot of them have worked here. I mean, I've had dozens of people that come through like that, and that's difficult because you train them and you get them right, and then they leave. How do you deal with that? Because now they're productive.
They're productive, but, they've outgrown kind of the space. They need new challenges. And I think every single one of us needs new challenges every couple of years. We've talked a lot lately about the Muskogee Challenge, like picking one major thing every single year to do. If you're not challenged, you're bored, right? And I'm the biggest component of that. I get bored instantly. 2 months into something, I'm just like, oh, this isn't growing fast enough.
I can't see you in a movie.
Can't see me
in a movie that you didn't want to go see, but your wife wanted to go see.
Oh, no. Yeah, so
rom-coms. I have to go see rom-coms all the time. What are you laughing about? And I'm sitting there, and all I'm doing is I eat a whole bucket of popcorn because I'm so bored.
Yeah.
And then we're going for dinner. Uh-huh. You go see a rom-com and go to dinner. I mean, oh, my God, the IU's playing. I mean, what are you going to do? So anyways, I'm sorry. It's just to the side of I think that I zing, bang, zoom to different areas. You can do it right there, man. You're like, oh, I'm thinking about this. I'm talking about that. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
But there's a method behind that.
There's a method. The way that I look at the world, and the way that a lot of the companies that I deal with is, there was a mentor of mine years ago that told me one thing. He goes, all you need to do is say no. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, just say the word no. And it didn't make sense to me when I was in my early 30s. I didn't quite get what he was trying to say, but now I completely understand it. If you have goals and you have things that you've outlined, and we've talked a ton about that in this podcast, is defining where you want to be. You set this goal, and again, I've talked about things that I'm working on. I'm not ready to share with everyone yet what I'm working on, but it's coming. We set a goal where we're going to be, and we look at it and we go, all right, let's strip everything away. There's a direct line between A and B, right? 2 points, and I'm going there. Everything else that I'm being asked that doesn't get me to where I want to go should be a no. And that's hard to do, right? So I had a conversation, I think it was yesterday, with a potential client, and they were asking me, oh, you want to do this? And we could really use your help, and we could do this, and, big client. And I'm just like, no, I don't think that's where I want to go. And any other agency would be jumping all over it. And I'm just sitting there going, I don't think it's a fit. I don't see that helping me get to where I want to be literally in 9 months, where I want to be. So I'm getting rid of the risk. I call that risk, right? So if I focus any attention over here on this new project that isn't the goal of what I'm trying to do, it's going to take the energy out of where I'm trying to go, right? So it's like taking the gasoline out of your car as you're trying to get home to where you want to be, right? If I take the gasoline out of it and I put it over here to light this fire, I can't get to where I want to go. So that's when I say pull out the risk of the small businesses. You have goals in mind, and you have to keep them very simplistic, right? Like very simple goal. Not this, I want to do this and this and this and this. It's we need to be there in 9 months, or we need to be there in 12 months or 3 years or wherever it is, and realize that that's the goal. If I don't hit that, the last 9 months, the last year, the last 3 years has been a waste. And all of this other stuff that's just vying for your time, you need to focus on it. So if small businesses that are very successful, especially in the marketing side of things, are very focused, and they're saying, okay, if it's X number of customers they want to have by the end of the year, that's a number. We got to hit that number, and you continually look at it. So for example, the goal that I have in mind for myself right now is August 1st. That's my deadline. I looked at the date yesterday and I went, oh my goodness, I'm already behind schedule, right? And it's funny because we're still talking about what to do in the new year and all this other stuff. I've already realized I'm behind schedule and I need to move faster, right? And that's what I mean. Reduce all of these things that are kind of sidelining you and taking all your energy, and reduce that risk and get towards where you need to be.
So hire the right people. You're looking for some growth, effective marketing strategies. You got to start with the right people. You got to reduce risk, as just discussed. We talked about the sales funnel. Mm-hmm. Certainly on many of the podcasts, we talk about increasing the satisfaction of the customer experience. And personally, I like to do things in 1s, 3s, 5s, and 10s. So the fifth thing here would be the last thing to talk about on this episode, and that is enter new markets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting one because most people don't think about new markets or new ways to sell, right? So maybe they have a single store, or maybe they're web-based, whatever it may be. But going back to just, my own businesses and different things. So from the agency standpoint, about 2 years ago, we started reaching out to new markets and people that we knew in those markets to sell different services and things like that, right? So my brother, he's in sales in Miami, and we started talking about like, okay, well, let's put you on a commission basis and pulling in kind of this different things down there. I've had local companies that sell, and they're just like, we're just not selling enough. And I said, well, have you ever thought about an e-commerce store? Can we facilitate, can we get 10, 20, 30 different products that you can ship out and get it customized and all this other stuff? People are like, yeah, I never thought about that, right? People that sell on e-commerce, have you ever thought of selling on Amazon or on eBay or any of those types of things? So, we used to do $10,000 a month just on eBay, and it was all return stuff that we got, right? So we would buy it from our wholesaler, and it was stuff that was returned to them, and we'd buy it on pennies on the dollar, and then we'd bring it in and we'd sort it and we'd throw it up on eBay, and we'd sell something that we bought for 10 cents for $10, and it was the greatest thing in the world. We were making a ton of money off of it. Or they would send us these collector catalogs that we would get for free, and we'd get 300 catalogs, and we'd put it up there and catalog for $10, and quantity 300, and they'd sell out instantly, and we'd make a ton of money off of that because nobody wanted the physical, catalog or anything in store. It was just collectors that wanted this stuff. So like we would look for all these different opportunities, and we would sell this stuff, and we would make money to keep the lights on and all the other stuff based on just garbage that was in a corner at our wholesaler. And they'd be like, yeah, what do you want to pay for it? And I'm 10 cents on the dollar. Okay, great. We'll take it.
So those are the first 5. And I'm going to read them again. And hire the right people, reduce risk, build a sales funnel, increase the customer experience, and enter new markets. That is a map for effective marketing to look for growth. It's only part 1 of this rather lengthy episode. We'll get to the second part of this, which will be episode 109 in the next one. Thanks a lot, Adriana. Thanks a lot, Matt Hansen. And thanks most of all to you for listening or watching the Mastering Local Marketing Podcast. Until next time, we'll see you later.